Today, we're going to be checking out the new Carnage Drive from Airis Effects. It's painfully simple. You have two controls, essentially what they call smash and stab. Smash is going to be your level control, how hard you're hitting, whatever you're going into. And trust me, this thing has so much volume. You are going to be absolutely slamming whatever you go into, just destroying the front end of it. And then stab is going to be kind of how much of that nasal, nasty cutting bite you get with the Carnage Drive. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's kind of nasal. It almost has, once you turn it up enough, has kind of a cocked wah thing. Lots of top end, lots of that bitey mid-range you want out of a drive. And it's just, it just creates this super nasty, like, it's not quite a chainsaw. It's not quite like an overdrive sound. It's really just doing its own thing. It's just getting a really nasty, kind of more unique sound that's a bit different from something you're getting from other overdrives. I bring this up basically every time I talk about Airis Effects. How cool are the graphics? How sick are the graphics on their pedals? They look every bit as good as they sound. They look like the music you're going to make with them. Just brutal destruction, and I love it. Just chef's kiss. So those are the two functions of it. Let's actually just hear this thing inside and outside of a mix. I'm going to be going into my PV6505 1992 original, and that's going to be going into the high gain input on that. And that's going to be running into my 2Notes Captor X with a DV77 and VM1265 IR blend. And of course, I'm plugging into all of that with my Solar guitar, my 7-string that has a Lundgren M7 in the bridge. And then we're just going to hear all that inside and outside of a mix. Let's check it out. That is nasty, nasty. That is cutting, grinding, aggressive. It adds this kind of nastiness that like really likes to poke out in a mix, where the guitars still sound big and they sound cutting, but they just sound gross in a really pleasant way. Like, I know a lot of people like to blend in certain kind of nasty guitar overtones in mid-range, whether it's with an IR or a pedal or just having a side chain of something or even a plug-in, because it helps it kind of sit in a mix better. This is especially for stuff like death metal, like really brutal stuff. You really just want it to like kind of poke out, and that nastiness really helps with that. And that's what the Carnage Drive is great at, just that kind of nasty biting tone. So when you have the stab turn way down, you know, it's a lot softer. The more you turn it up, it gets more aggressive, more cutting, definitely gets more nasal. And once it's all the way up, you kind of get that cocked wah thing I was talking about, just a ton of that top end. I think it's kind of cool too. Like, you can also really play with the volume on this thing. Like, if you want to just get some super thick, sludgy kind of stuff, you want to just crank that volume, because it was saturating like crazy with the PV. Like, just these big, just oversaturated, like really sludgy, borderline doomy kind of sounds. And then when you back off, you get more of like a traditional, like I'm just hitting it hard, getting more saturation, more cut. If you back off to about halfway, I noticed like you kind of got like more tightness. So it's hitting harder, it's compressing, it's tightening up, but you're not like really slamming it for extra saturation. And then of course, when you go back, you just get less and less saturation until you're not really getting anything at all. But only 2 controls, but there was like a lot of variation you could get just with those 2 controls on here. So I would be interested to know what you think of this. I think it was personally pretty awesome. I'm going to have a link down below for this, for anything else as well from Airis Effects, because as I always say, I highly recommend them. They've been one of the brands that I've been demoing stuff for the longest. They were so cool to send this over to me, and they send me a lot of stuff that I get to demo, and they're absolutely some of my favorite stuff. I mean, this Carnage Drive sounds awesome. I really dug a lot of the stuff they put out last year. The Savage Drive, as I've talked about before, is one of my all-time favorite overdrives. So I'll have links down to that so you can check out all the cool metal stuff that they have to offer. But thanks for watching, guys. Stay metal.